Let's get ready to rumble!
Sports Extra is bringing you the hottest sports updates starting now in 3, 2, 1. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new installment today of your favorite sports talk show, not just in the Wabash Valley, not just in the state of Indiana, but in the galaxy, in the Milky Way. Joseph Moore.
Of course.
Of course, I'm Kobe Clark. There's Joseph the Lawn Moore. Let me get it right for everyone listening. Joe, we have a lot to be discussed today. Indiana State had a full slate of games over the weekend. The men's team won. Unfortunately, the women's went 0 for 2, now 3 straight losses in a row. Got a lot of things to be talked about there. And then, of course, we're going to turn into professional sports with the Indianapolis Colts signing a brand new offensive coordinator. We're going to go through the mock draft system of all that. And then the Indiana Pacers, how well Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield did, coming up just short in the three-point contest. And Halliburton is getting his first nod of an all-star game.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing today, Joe, man? How has it been? I've been pretty busy.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mix of kind of busy and, calm before the storm almost of next week. We have like a lot of stuff going on, spring giveaway stuff, listeners, watch out for that.
Absolutely.
We going to St. Louis next week, which is going to be a fantastic time. So, we have a lot of stuff like, in the works and around the corner that's like, about ready to happen. And this week just kind of feels like, there's no real games until Sunday. There's, a couple of like, nice events going on here and there. But for the most part, it's just, like we say in the meetings, business as usual.
Absolutely.
So
well, if you're asking Rich, you don't want to be saying business as usual anymore.
Usual as business, always.
Usual as business, of course, man. Now, but I've definitely just been very busy just trying to get everything situated. We had obviously some games, so I had to write up some articles. I've been interviewing players and coaches left, right, and center, just trying to put out the most information here. Just trying to, put my stamp on the media side of things here on the campus of ISU and, show the Sycamore Sports some love, as always. I mean, it is my job after all.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Beautiful job, too.
Joe?
And you're doing a great job at it.
Stop it. You're doing a better job, and you can't argue with me.
I don't like being lied to, Kobe.
I'm not lying. That's why I got a straight face. Unfortunately, we don't have Twitch up. But
hey,
you can still listen to us here.
To us staring at each other. Yes.
Absolutely. Hey, it's like Chestnut all over again.
Of course.
Shout out Christian.
Yo, shout out to him.
Yeah, I mean, after this, episode of Sports Extra on the February 20th edition of the year 2023, I'm going to be uploading the audio to this on our Spotify, so you can check out that. Just, stay informed on all of our social medias at WZIS-FM to see some articles, schedules, who's calling the game, players and coach interviews, just everything you need to know and more from your boys here at Sports Extra.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, man, I'm going to give you the honor to pick which one you want to go for first. You want to get the good news out of the way, or do you want to get the bad news out of the way first?
You know what? Let's just get the bad news. Get the I don't want to say negative, but kind of down energy out of the way first, and then we can look forward to the future.
Now, unfortunately, when we do talk about this, I mean, we're not going to be really light, because the fact is we've expected a lot from this women's Sycamores team, but they just have not, unfortunately, been producing, whether that be on the schedule as normal or in the Missouri Valley Conference, because we got Hoops in the Heartland just coming up over spring break, just less than 2 weeks away now, or a little bit over 2 weeks if I don't get my numbers straight. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is this team currently on an 0-3 record, Joe. I mean, just last out, they lost to Valparaiso on Friday. And just, a tough one. You had the honor to call that one with our man Blake Simpson there. And then, just unfortunately just couldn't get the job done against UIC just yesterday on Sunday, where that was a very close neck-and-neck game all the way from the start to the finish. But as soon as, those last 3 or 2 minutes, hit for the Lady Sycamores, they just could not come over that last hump.
Tragic. Yeah, I mean, I do think in general it's such a there's no just momentum. It's just kind of like flat. They're like, in the sea without, their sails up. They're just kind of like victim to the elements. It just feels like each time, even if they're at home, it just doesn't feel like any of the players on the court, really have that, that real leadership ability on that, on a play-by-play basis, to where like, okay, there'll be, a bunch of girls on the squad can make plays, they can make shots, they can get a rebound, they can, do a lot of things on the ball and off the ball, defensively too, with a very, I believe, Killinger's a very smart man as well.
I agree.
So
absolutely.
it just kind of feels like the theme of this weekend was just kind of like just falling flat, like you were saying. It's just one of those things where, they just kind of felt victim, instead of, really the initiators, the aggressors, the, person that was going to set the pace for this game and define the game. They just kind of felt like, again, victims.
I think the Lady Sycamore's biggest issue is, and I see it a lot in sports, most teams who are going through a struggling season, especially in basketball, when I talk about this, there seems to be this overweighing cloud above their head where they can only be a three-quarter team. And unfortunately, that fourth quarter for the women's, whatever quarter it is, it could be the second, third, first, fourth, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, Indiana State and the Lady Sycamores have had a tough time on the year just being able to close out games. I mean, when you look at this one, UIC and Indiana State, they were just neck and neck all the way through it. I mean, they were tied up at halftime and then just barely, but unfortunately got outscored in the fourth quarter 13-8. I just don't think there was enough there with this team right now. And it doesn't help when some of your better players are just, either in foul trouble or they're just not, putting out the most, more likely numbers that they usually do, losing 56-50 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Just with this tough loss, the Lady Sycamores are now sitting at 10th in the Missouri Valley Conference rankings, completely flip-flop of what the men's are.
Exactly.
And it just feels a little bit sour. I really wish they could get things turned around. Like I said, I mentioned about 2 weeks ago, they have not had a streak of 3 or more wins in a row. They've only had 2 back-to-back wins on the season. There's just only 4 regular season games remaining before this team goes over to Moline, Illinois for the Hoops in the Heartland Tournament. So momentum, it seems to be pretty scarce right now, absolutely, but they need to clean it up. What exactly do you think this team's missing?
I think it's really a philosophy thing, and it's kind of like, when I say philosophy, I really do mean it's a mindset thing. Because I do think there's a bunch of girls on the squad that are able. They have the ability to make, like I was saying before, have the ability to make plays, have the ability to go out there and get it. But it just feels like there's no real unity with the squad. Like, from, player to player on this roster, there's something that they're good at. And it just feels like each of the other players that aren't, with that name, with that number on their jersey, they don't play to each other's strengths. They don't say, okay, Desjanae Williams is a fantastic, scorer and stuff. Let's, make sure that we, kind of pass the ball around and, whenever she has like a mismatch, whenever she has, the hot hand, make sure to get her to her. Or, there's people like, Chelsea Kane, who's, she's a really, really good driver to the rim. So let's try to open up the floor a little bit, have a couple long twos, maybe threes, go up and try to hit them just so we can open up the game a little bit more. There's no complementation to each other's games and stuff. And then in general, it's I feel like they're kind of not really taking a lot of these matchups seriously enough, because if you look at the Valparaiso game, Valparaiso came into the game 4-19. And I believe they were 2-12 in the Missouri Valley Conference. And I think they kind of, Valparaiso didn't do nothing special. Nothing special throughout that game.
It's a game that the Lady Sycamore should have won.
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
Exactly. And it was kind of like you said with the UIC game. It was very close throughout the majority of the, contests and stuff. Valparaiso had 11 in the first quarter. Indiana State had 10. Valparaiso had 14 in the second quarter. Indiana State had 15. But once that second half hit, it just kind of felt like Indiana State was almost kind of played like they were entitled to the win.
I could see it.
And then Valparaiso were just playing, just good basketball. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I was playing throughout the broadcast, you can tell that Valparaiso doesn't have very, again, these girls are very, very good athletes, but you could tell like they're not going to be, you know, a bunch of WNBA draft or like overseas types of professional players on the squad. So, you know, the talent level in general shouldn't really be a comparison between Indiana State and Valparaiso.
Right.
But Valparaiso has a very good coach over there, to where like, you know, she was, I forget her name escapes me, excuse me, but like, you know, she was playing really, really fundamental ball. You know, she made sure that, you know, the right people got the ball at the right times. Very, very situational, to where like they made sure that, you know, if our leading scorer is having a bad game, okay, let's just make sure that we, you know, have a couple screens here and there, try to get some easy shots at the rim. Really simple stuff.
Mary Evans, the head coach.
Yeah, thank you. And, you know, Evans was doing a fantastic job just making stuff simple, making stuff, you know, run very smoothly, executing the whole shebang. And, you know, Indiana State just kind of just looked, okay, we're just gonna let them do it because we're just gonna get out with this win. And it's like, no, you kind of have to earn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it is when the Missouri Valley Conference. It's like, you know, pretty much anybody honestly could beat anybody. So, you know, and then Indiana State just kind of like, you know, they went on, Valparaiso started hitting a few shots and stuff, and then Indiana State could not respond. And then, you know, lead that looked like a, you know, 1-2 point Indiana State lead or 1-2 point Valparaiso lead just kind of, you know, resulted in like a, you know, next thing you know is like a 12-point lead for Valparaiso.
Right. Oh, I get that. And, you know, Joe, I mentioned it a few weeks ago as well,
Yeah.
back on Sports Extra. I think one of the most important statistics when looking at the final score of a game is the rebounding. And it matters so much.
It does.
Because if you can create second chance opportunities for your team, just taking that, you know, extra step and extra effort, just trying to win the battle down low, getting it back up and in, or just getting it outside to reset the offense. I mean, it works wonders. And unfortunately, Indiana State struggled in that against UIC on Sunday, because when I was calling the game, I noticed, I mean, just kind of from the jump, it was from really in the first quarter, the second quarter, UIC, the end of the game, they had a double-digit lead on the end rebound category. And, I mean, if I were to tell you this, you probably wouldn't be – I don't know if you'd be shocked or just, you know, used to it at this point. But UIC out-rebounded ISU on the offensive end 14-6. That's 8 more opportunities for your team to get a basket.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was close all the way. It was only a 1-point lead heading into the third quarter, but they matter when it counts the most, the ending of the game.
Exactly. And, you know, that's the perfect, you know, statistic to point out, especially with this team, because, you know, rebounding is a really good, you know,
We have height.
Exactly.
But we don't have that real agility, I guess you can say. We're not really that quick.
I disagree with you to that extent.
Okay.
Because I don't think rebounding is like as much as a physical thing when you're at like a high level like college or professional.
I get it.
Because I think it goes more down to an effort level. Me personally, especially when you think about second chance points is just straight up just not giving up on the play.
Right.
Second chance points is going to happen. You know, the ball is going to roll to you. The ball is going to bounce to you, whether you want it to or not, essentially.
No.
You know what I mean? Especially if you play to a certain, caliber on each, offensive possession, just closing out possessions and stuff like that. And again, like the energy level, the tenaciousness of this team and stuff is just really not there. Again, like, you know, you said flat, and that's really what it is. Just, you know, whenever you play flat, you're not going to get those rebounds. You're not going to make sure that you have those plays where it's going to be a really energy mood or like, momentum swing whenever you get that, you know, rebound and one. You know, that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen.
It's not.
And yeah, if you don't have that energy, it's not going to happen. So again, like you said, it's just, you know, rebounding is just such a big, you know, factor with this team, and, you know, it just kind of says a lot about it.
And I think the one thing also to point out that this ISU women's team is kind of missing out on the season, they're just missing that one word, physicality.
Physicality, yes.
I feel like they're just not more physical enough. I feel like they're just, you know, they're not wanting to drive in. They like to settle for shots, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I've seen Anna McKendry just on Sunday make a shot from Stephen Curry range. I've seen Bella Fagan who popped off in this one for 17 points. But the fact of the matter is, when you have your 2 leading scorers for UIC, that being, you know, Josie Filer and Jaden McLeod, shout out to them, they're great players.
Yeah.
2 of the taller players, offensive rebounds, it matters. Yeah. I just don't think they're really going in and attacking the basket as much as they should be. Whether that be, you know, an offensive scheme or a defense that they're being thrown at, they're just not really coming up with the opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. With this, physicality is a fantastic word for it. I think one thing is to mention with these weekend games, I'm not sure about the UIC, but I'm pretty sure Adrian Folks, wasn't in the game.
She was not. Did not play either game on the weekend.
Yeah, because they had, I forget what's the other name.
Ella Sawyer.
Thank you.
She's not, she hasn't played.
Exactly. And, I believe those were like injuries. I think so. Like, to Indiana State's credit, they were playing down a few, very influential, girls for this Indiana State squad.
But I feel like the core is there. You got McKendry.
Exactly.
You got Williams. You got Kane. That's kind of the big three of this ladies' team. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, if one player's, going off, I feel like the whole team rallies around them. But when one player's, just having a down night, then it kind of just reflects on how the other teammates are going to perform.
Yeah, and it's just really sad because, again, there's a lot of talent on the squad. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of, things to be happy about, things to look forward to on a game-by-game basis. And it just feels like, the players aren't looking forward to it. You know what I mean? It just feels like, the energy of the, just stadium and the bench and stuff like that, it's just not really there. And I just really want, this women's team to really rally behind each other. Yeah. Making sure they rally behind each other. Each time, somebody for their squad has a fantastic play, just cheer them on in the bench and like just have that type of thing. If somebody has a hot hand, don't just kind of, give it to her like right when you pass half court line, just say do something with it. Like, just try to, get some little motion going on. And again, sometimes that does come down to the play calling, but still, like, just make sure that you really rally behind each other on and off the floor, and really that's just going to result in everybody playing to the best of their ability, and that's going to give you wins on the season.
We're hoping that they can turn it all around, right those wrongs from early on in the season to now. I mean, they got 4 regular season games, 2 at home, 2 away. Their next matchup, I mean, it's coming up. Southern Illinois and the Lady Salukis on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then the Missouri State Lady Bears for a Saturday tip-off at 2 p.m. Both of those games away. So at least they get to come back to Indiana State, get that feel for the home crowd. Hopefully that pushes them well for those last 2 regular season games before, it's tourney time, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
got to turn it up.
Exactly. All of these games matter. All of these games are going to be, defining on what, what tourney time is going to look like for you. Get it done.
Absolutely. Let's turn things now into some men's conversation, as just a complete flip-flop of what the women's is going through right now. And we hope they do it. We really hope that they turn it around. And we want to see them succeed just as much as any program, any athlete on this campus of Indiana State. But the men's team, the first 20-win season since the year 2014, Joseph Moore. Absolutely just an impressive season. And a lot of people didn't expect this from them. I mean, you have Coach Schertz. He's in his second season. He's still bouncing back, trying to ruffle the feathers of what was going on in the first season with an 11-20 ending to that one. But now you have Courvoisier McCulley who came in. I mean, he was at Lincoln Memorial with Coach Schertz for a time. And then he went to DePaul, and then he came here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So a whole lot of stuff has been changing up here. You still have Cooper Neese, which shout out to Cooper Neese. This man had any reason to leave this team. I mean, he did all his thing. He could be playing at a Power 5 school right now, but he stuck with it. He stayed true to home. Just a straight up awesome dude.
For real.
Swear. And then, when you look at the whole team, it's just everyone is just rallying around the big names of Courvoisier, Cooper, Robbie Avila, which shout out to Robbie. I absolutely love the fact that I got free goggles for him.
Hilarious.
That is so amazing.
Like, whoever playing that for Indiana State, 10 out of 10. Fantastic
Absolutely.
job. Fantastic.
I mean, it's even like the bench pieces that's working well. We see, Xavier Bledson, he's been showing up. We've seen Trenton Gibson. He just popped off for an amazing game off the bench in relief of Cam Henry, who unfortunately went down early in the first. He went to the locker room, returned, but then we didn't see him I don't think at all in the second half. So we're hoping for a speedy, quick recovery from our guy, Cam Henry. But Trenton Gibson, I mean, this is absolutely absurd because you start out the season starting in the lineup, and then a few weeks pass, you're not playing at all. You're not seeing any minutes, and if you do, you're seeing it in like the first 2 to 3, last 2-3 minutes of the game, just washed out time. But then now you're coming in relief of someone who's very consistent on the defensive and offensive end, and you play it to a T, leading the team in scoring with 17 points. Can you just take me through the fact that how well Gibson has just the matureness of him to take that in and then just explode out of a game like this.
You know where this comes from?
Where?
Is team rallying behind each other. They know each other. They want to see each other succeed. Like Trenton Gibson, I mean, I keep on calling him 3 different names. But, he's been doing a fantastic job and being kind of like a mentor. Like, I always think of him as kind of like a Malcolm Brogdon almost.
Ooh,
like, just kind of like
that.
a floor general that's just going to make the right play at the right time.
I like that,
Be very fundamental. Coaches love him. So, and then so you have, you start out in the starting lineup, kind of set that tone for that season almost because you have that maturity floor general type of player that's going to bring together a squad that, at that point we didn't know what we expect from Indiana State because like you said, Josh is only in his second year, and a lot of these players are kind of seniors who are fairly new to the program that came in with Josh.
Yeah.
And, last year it was a pretty solid season for, first year head coach. But, again, we're not really sure. I think preseason poll had us at 7th in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Something like 7th or 8th, yeah.
Yeah, so
look at us now.
Not sure. So and then you have a player like Trenton Gibson who comes in and then has this fantastic mood setter for the rest of the season. Then he goes down with I believe some type of an injury.
Yep.
And then and then during that time frame, since they rallied behind each other, believed in each other, and he had that really good kind of what's it called, like a template for Julian Larry. Julian Larry shifts into the starting lineup and starts to flourish as well.
He's a dog, man.
Exactly.
Sophomore, I mean, it's just so impressive how well the older, I don't say older like they're like 35 or something.
Exactly.
But, they've been around college basketball longer than like Robbie.
Exactly.
Longer than Julian. And the fact that they're all meshing well together now to this point, enough credit cannot go
exactly
to head coach Josh Schertz.
Josh knew exactly, and I think this is the advantage of having like players that you've had in the past. He knew exactly what the squad needed when he brought in Trenton Gibson, when he brought in like Cade McKnight. Just veteran, in the college basketball sense, like veteran players that come in and just like know what winning looks like. They've been through, some bad seasons. They've been through some good seasons. They've, what success looked like, what defeat looks like. They know pretty much everything that, you would, intake in a whole college basketball experience. And then when you have a pretty much new program, Indiana State basketball, it's right there. So again,
very welcoming.
Fantastic. Just Indiana State squad is just something special.
Diving in specifically to this game that they just had on Saturday against the visiting Illinois State Redbirds, which, a couple of ISUs battling back and forth. Fun fact for you, Joe, I don't know if you know this or not, or if any of you viewers, the first matchup of this contest ever, if you had to take a guess on the year, what year would it be?
Now, see, you making it sound like it's either really, really old or really, really new. So I'm going to go old, and I'm going to say 1942.
Not even close. The first matchup of this one happened back in 1913.
Basketball was invented in 1913.
Apparently so.
Indiana State.
According to my sources and everyone inside the Ullman Center that day, piece of paper said so I just ran with it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But the one thing that this team has been consistent on all season long, which has been a huge improvement from last, it's not the scoring, it's not the assists, it's not, the teaming and all that, just the bond.
Yeah.
It's the defense. And I want to talk about this real quick because I had the chance to interview head coach of the Sycamores, Josh Schertz, after their victory against Illinois State when they won 80-64. I specifically asked them about the defense and what he had to say. I'm going to play that interview for you guys real quick right now. And when we come back, we will talk a little bit more about the men's. We'll take another break, and we'll keep on going after that. But here is my head coach interview with Josh Schertz about the defense and their victory over Illinois State this past Saturday.
Coach, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, the defense all day today, whenever Illinois State kind of came really close, just 8, 9, 10 points away, it seemed like the Sycamores defense really stepped up. Anything that you could talk about that and just how well of a game this was today?
Yeah, I thought, we thought about it going in. Illinois State's a really good offensive team. They're explosive. You could see, pockets there in the second half. Burford, made some tough shots. Poindexter's got, Seneca Knight. They got a lot of weapons. You really got to be locked in defensively and fully engaged from a mental standpoint. And I thought our guys did a great job of that. I really did. I was, we had pockets and possessions where we didn't guard great, but when you look at it early, I didn't think we were very good. And then from there, the last 35 minutes, we had little sections here in the second half. But for the most part, I thought we were as dialed in as we could be. I thought we really guarded them, and we made it hard on them. Doesn't mean it was perfect, but we made it. We made them earn a lot of their baskets. And to hold a team like that to 64, and they got some late there. I think they had 58 with maybe a minute 20 to go, a minute 15 to go. They got 6 there in that little stretch at the end. But, to do that to a really good offensive team, Coach Peden's really good coach. They got systematically, they're really good, and they got good players. I mean, Burford, Poindexter, Seneca Knight, those guys, can really go. Kendall Lewis. I mean, they got a lot of weapons that can hurt you. And so our guys were, I thought, turned up, and the defense is what saved that. That stretch where it was 19-14, I think we got around 10 or 11, maybe even 12 stops in a row. And that was able to kind of, where we weren't getting anything going offensively, that allowed us to keep the lead. And then when we did get going, and I thought our guys, we didn't shoot the ball great, but 35 free throws, right? We got the line, we made 30 free throws. So our ability to Julian and certainly Trent, when you look at, Jabo getting downhill, those guys all got downhill, put pressure, and, 30 free throws, get a line 35 times, when you're struggling to score, putting your head down and getting the ball to the rim is a good way to go about it. And I thought we did a great job there.
That was my head coach.
That's
Sorry,
my head coach.
Hannah waved at me and she threw me off. Just such a great promotions director. Let's not. Just say awesome, man. We all do a great job here. We're a family. We just got a family photo. It's awesome, but for the station and for social media. But anyway, I had the interview with Coach Schertz after that victory. I sat down with him last week as well. I mean, it's just something about this man. He is such a likable guy. And the fact is, he cares about these players. There's a difference between, coaching and family. And I think this Sycamores team is a family. And I think the fact of the matter is, he installed a different system going into this season with all these new guys coming in. Freshmen are, graduate assist seniors and all that. But the fact is, he has just completely done a great job with this organization and this team.
He's just
organization like it's a restaurant.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just with the Josh hiring, fantastic. Just fantastic what you needed for this Indiana State program, because he's not only going to, implement really good basketball because he's just such a good basketball mind, in my opinion. He's going to implement, like you said, that family environment to where a lot of these players want to play for Indiana State. They want to put on that uniform. They don't want to have, see Indiana State as a, means to an end. They want to see Indiana State as the means and the end. And I think that's really important for the squad. I mean, Indiana State has the ability and, has the, the stuff for, us to produce, fantastic basketball talents on a year-to-year basis. And really what they needed was culture. They needed that type of, person like Josh to connect with the players, to, have that type of, scheme to where Indiana State can be known for something.
Yeah.
Again, Larry Bird went to Indiana State. Indiana State should be a team of just straight shooters.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. He's this dude. He's from like French Lick. Something like that. I think he played for some, NBA
He's from France?
team. Something like that. I think. I don't know.
Of course, we're kidding.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone knows Larry Bird.
It's like, I think, I've always think like, each program for like a college basketball sense needs to have that type of identity and like something the programs are known for. And I think shooting is what Indiana State should be known for. And Josh has done just that. Granted, not a good, shooting game from either team here. I think, Indiana State went 6 for 20, shooting 30% from the 3-point line. And, Illinois State shot like, 20% from the 3-point line, but still, you know what I mean? In general, we have so many like snipers, from top to bottom, pretty much everybody on the floor can shoot, which is amazing.
I know. You look at, we have Robbie, who a big man could shoot. Cooper Neese, obviously, he's the 3-point threat for the team. Corvazia, his little, step back, side shuffle, 3-point shots. It's just so flashy with this team, and we're having so much fun. Like, I don't even think, like, this, talking about this Sycamores team is not, a job, because this is genuinely me as a fan, not me in the media, talking about how well of a job, and I mean it when I say it, Josh Schertz, great job. These players are doing amazing. I mean, everyone. Have you seen a Holman Center like this in the past 10 years?
No. I mean, dog.
It's so stacked.
We're first of all, us at the sports program for Indiana State, for WZIS, spoiled. We are spoiled. We have a brand new Dreiser. We got, a great Indiana State's team, a pretty decent women's team, a fantastic track team, swimming. Like, my goodness. It's so good.
What about football?
Football, it's there. We have one. So, we are spoiled.
We're turning things around.
Yeah, exactly. We're turning things. It's a process, developing, rebuilding. But, we are just such a, we are so spoiled. And, again, we're so lucky and so grateful for this team and stuff. But I do have beef with one of these players on this time.
Oh, my.
And
how are you going to say all that nice stuff and then just...
No, I got beef. No, I got beef because Kavasi McCulley, all right, he is a fantastic player. But why you never pop off when, granted, you have good games, but you never pop off when I'm calling the game. You never have, you be having these 26-point outings, like
albums.
30. Yeah, 20, yeah, he
Voss is throwing out 26 albums.
Hey, he got some bars, but but he's having these fantastic outings, on away games or just games where, I'm just not calling when they're in the Holman Center. I just want to see Kavasi McCulley just light it up, hopefully we get that when the games that really matter next week, in St. Louis and stuff. But man, until that happens, I got beef.
Hey,
we got beef.
I'm just gonna say right now,
I can't mess with bro.
Voss, if you're listening, shout out to you for taking the time with me for that interview, and also. I don't care what Joe says. If you don't have a good game, I know your teammates got your back.
Yeah,
That's
they got your back.
It's
don't
a
get me
team
wrong.
game, Joseph.
It's a team thing, but it's something about the way Kavasi and McCulley shoot and the confidence in that he does it. I just want to see it in person. Just
hey man,
give it to me.
I don't know if you want to travel to Nashville or anything this Wednesday, but Belmont is a game we need, and you know why? Pretty much the winner of this one pretty much certifies a first-round bye for either side.
Bar.
I mean, still, if Indiana State does somehow end their winning streak and lose against Belmont on the road, there is still hope and a chance for a top 4 seed in the MVC.
Exactly.
But this win will pretty much do exactly what we'll do for this team, and that's going to get them that first-round bye. For sure. We're going to get to chill a little bit, not going to worry about it too much, get to stay here for a little bit, and then we hit St. Louis in that arch, baby.
Man, I'm excited. I'm so excited for this team, man. And, I'm a very pessimistic person by nature. You know what I mean? I'm normally try to go for the worst case scenario and, the world is going to burn. You know what I mean? I'm going to stub my toe trying to get cereal in the morning. My cereal is going to be stale. The milk going to be a little bit spoiled. That's my expectation.
Where are you doing your shopping at, my guy?
Listen, that's what my expectations are. But, this team gives me an unbelievable amount of hope for a sports team. So, knock on all the wood on campus.
Joe, I feel like, if you just be told one of your best friends just got engaged, oh man, congratulations, Joe's over there, be like, man,
they want to get the 4.
that wedding's gonna be pretty expensive.
Exactly, this wedding,
that honeymoon. I mean, the bills.
Yeah, my friend, he gonna
file kids. You gotta take care of another human. Joe, what are you talking about? I understand what you're talking about. Listen, I love it.
I'm just like that. So whenever good things happen, I appreciate them 10 times more. But again, and what this team has is just so many good things going forward. And again, like I said, we're spoiled to watch this team on a night in, night out basis. Just hoop, have fun, be together, and set a good standard for the rest of Indiana State, man.
Absolutely, man. And currently sitting 13-5 in the Missouri Valley Conference, 7-game win streak. But you know what just upsets me? We had the same conversation. Drake and Belmont.
Thank you.
Or Drake and Bradley, excuse me.
Thank you.
Both have a higher winning streak. So, of course, the one time we're getting hot towards the end of the season, they're getting even hotter. A 9-win streak for Drake, an 8-win streak for Bradley. I mean, 7-game win streak, don't get me wrong, that's cool. But the fact that there's 2 more better in our conference this late in the season is so annoying, man.
Man, I don't know who Drake plays, and Drake and Bradley plays in the next couple of games. I am their biggest fan. I am the
Oh, are
biggest
they?
fans of, whoever Drake and Bradley are playing against, because I need, like you said, the streak to be broken for both those squads. Indiana State to, come out on top. I believe it's possible, theoretically.
Well, I can tell you, they play Illinois State on the 22nd.
I believe in them.
And then, this is Drake. They play Illinois State on the 22nd at home, and then they play Bradley the 26th. Ooh, so that's a little interesting.
Interesting game.
That kind of
That's
helps
one to
us
look
out as Indiana State.
Exactly.
And then seeing what Bradley comes up with. Obviously, their end of the season game will be Drake, but, they got it kind of easy with Valparaiso.
Yeah,
coming
for
up.
sure.
No disrespect.
No disrespect, but like
But they're at the bottom of the
they
rankings.
just nice. They just nice. They just nice for real.
And they play the same day and on the 22nd. So that's a good matchup. I mean, that's the number 1 and number 2 seed in the MVC if they can still, continue that win. One win streak's going to come to an end. So that's pretty cool.
Man, that's a
ISU
good
might
thing.
get number 2 if we keep this win streak up, but we got a tough one against Belmont as well.
Man,
so we got
edge
to
of my
keep on the
seat.
winning streak, man.
Edge
Gotta
of
keep it
my
up.
seat till the end of the season. Edge of my seat, man.
Man, Joe, I'm getting to go to New York this weekend for a conference with, some other people here at the radio station. Shout out Hannah. Shout out Callie. Shout out Gavin. Shout out Rich. I mean, we're going to have a lot of fun. And then the week after, we're going to make it even better. St. Louis.
Bang.
I've had communications and conversations with our good old boss, Rich Green. We might even have a live show, or not live, but recorded show of Sports Extra from outside, and we're going to record it, and I would ideally like to have the arch in the background. I don't know if that's possible, but I know it's possible, but hopefully we get it done. I think it'd be pretty cool to keep all you guys up to date from our point of view and our takes on everything MVC, especially ISU.
I cannot wait, man.
Absolutely.
Cannot wait.
Going to be a lot of fun. Good luck to Coach Schertz. Good luck to all these boys here from the men's Sycamores team. Keep killing it. Keep, just continue to shock the doubters. From the beginning of the year to now, all those people, I mean, they're probably looking pretty dumb right now.
Underdog, baby.
Underdog. Woo! Love a good underdog story. When we come back, Joseph Moore, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. We will be talking about some Indianapolis Colts new offensive coordinator, and we're going to be talking about some mock drafts, who we see they're going to be drafting with that 4th pick. Will they trade it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then, of course, we're going to talk about, Indiana Pacers. Keep them up to date as the season gets back into gear after they just hit that long all-star break weekend. We're going to talk about that when we come back right here. For Joe Moore, I've been Kobe Clark. We'll be right back on Sports Extra.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Kobe Clark, Joe Moore over there. We're back here, baby, talking about some more sports on Sports Extra. It'd be kind of weird if we didn't talk about sports. I mean, we could talk about your taxes, or we could talk about
Tax returns, they looking nice.
Tax Extra.
You know what I mean?
We could do a food review, food extra.
Food review would be like, hear me out, like mukbang. But like we just go to McDonald's, order like 3 of everything off the menu and stuff.
You
just
gonna
talk
pay?
about
You paying?
You know what? Just listen. Rich, please. Listen. My pocket's a little low right now, but it'll be fun.
Hey, get your money up. Not your funny up, baby. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny, man. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts, my guy. Obviously, you being a Colts fan and all, just everyone around this place seems to, either be a Bears or Colts fan, which is kind of funny because I'm going to be talking about the Bears, which have to do with the Colts in just a little bit. I guess, if you're listening, you can kind of assume why. But the Colts here have now hired a brand new offensive coordinator coming over from the Detroit Lions, and probably one of the best, if not the best, a top 5 name at least in the world of sports today, Jim Bob Cooter, to be their new offensive coordinator. Cooter, 38, he was most recently with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was their passing game coordinator. Steichen and Cooter, they do share some history, of course, as Cooter served as the offensive consultant for Steichen with the Eagles just 2 years ago back in 2021. We've seen, Cooter make stops, as I just mentioned, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Detroit Lions. So it should be pretty cool and see what they, bring to the table, as they already have that chemistry. It worked pretty well for him 2 years ago. We hope to see that work well with whoever they want to draft as their quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., and easily, when healthy, a top 3 O-line.
Man, oh man. I like this. I like it.
You do now?
I like it.
Let me hear why.
First of all, I like how we're taking talent away from Jacksonville, because any other, any other, the more that we can hamper Jacksonville's success, I think the better for the Colts. So just fantastic hiring in there. I do like having that connection with the offensive coordinator, and, because they already work together, so they know they're not going to really butt heads at least too much going forward. So, just fantastic, connection between those two. Hopefully they can develop, even more chemistry than I'm sure they already had. And, again, I think these are just really, really good moves in general from this Colts front office, and I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the Matrix.
Where are you at now?
Is
it kind of weird?
I feel like maybe episode of Twilight Zone, and maybe some dude in the suit's going to
it.
talk to the camera or something. But, again.
Breaking the fourth wall or something?
Exactly. I just feel like
there's not a microphone in my face.
Man, wait.
Hold up.
Brain. Boom. But yeah, I just can't wait to see what we're gonna do in terms of draft. But yeah. Again, what we have right now, the foundation, the players that you were talking about, from defense to offense, again, the coaching staff that we have now, it's in place. We just need that piece.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You know what piece I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And so I hope, Jim Bob Cooter brings so much swagger to this offense, just like his name already brings.
Thank you.
So, definitely stealing from Jacksonville is key, because we kind of mentioned already how Jacksonville's kind of turning things up all of a sudden, and they're becoming a little better. If they're going to kind of be the team that beats, Tennessee is taking a recession back. Mm-hmm. Houston is still, brand new head coach. Shout out to Miko Ryans. They need to get a quarterback. They need to figure all that stuff out, and all that mumbo jumbo and all that. Yeah. But the Colts, they still have a good group of guys around them. They're just that one guy short. And I want to mention this. I know I bring it up once in a while, but really the last, good guy that has been very consistent at the quarterback position was Mr. Andrew Luck, who is now eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but I don't expect him to be in there until maybe after I'm gone from the earth.
Wow.
Personally, hot take, I don't think Andrew Luck is a Hall of Famer. He only spent, 7-8 seasons in the NFL. Sure, he has the rookie records, a few of them, but they've been broken from Herbert and Mahomes and all that.
Yeah.
But, he was great for the time, but, over a lot of already names that have been announced, I just don't see it.
There's a lot of,
Not yet, if ever, maybe.
Listen, Andrew Luck, if he comes back to the Colts,
there's no if. This man is doing book clubs and holding a flip phone and doing whatever he wants. He's just a dad now. He's vibing.
And shout out to it, man.
I get it.
For real. Going back to
don't want to get hurt.
Stanford, yeah. That's where he came from. Going back, being a grad student, like you said, just working on yourself.
He's living life,
stuff.
man.
I'm with it. Get your check.
It also helps when Jim Irsay just gives you a full on bag even when you retire. It does not keep it, man.
Exactly. Shoot, if I'm a quarterback, if I'm just like a random assistant coach, if I'm like a quarterback, if I'm like, head coach, even like low key, I'd like to work for Jim Irsay, because, even if I do a bad job, he gonna get me straight. But again, I think this is going to be, really, the defining moment is going to be in this draft.
Right.
And I'm kind of at my edge of my seat a little bit, because there's so many things that can happen. Again, like you was talking about, the Bears could make a move, and I know you're going to get into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
The Colts, they're going to be in conversation with, I'm sure, a couple of other teams and stuff. Very, very interested to see what this draft looks like for the Colts.
And yeah, with the 4th overall pick they already currently are holding, there are some good, quarterbacks coming into it. I have expressed my pleasure with the fact that I think the Colts should go for the Ohio State University number 7, C.J. Stroud. But Bryce Young, he's also an interesting name. But now I'm seeing all these reports about Kentucky's Will Levis, where is he playing in all this? Anthony Richardson, he's kind of flying under the radar. A lot of people saying he's going to be the best quarterback from this class, which I think it is just absurd. But I kind of see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if the Colts want to stay put, there's really two options. You stay put at 4 or you trade up. I don't really see the Colts trading back because at that point
couldn't be.
You could if they want to go Levis from Kentucky, they could maybe trade back and then get some more for the future and whoever. I know my Saints, they would like to, maybe trade up, but I don't know if that's this year or next year. Whatever the case may be. But the Colts have a lot of dominoes to be falling here for a crazy effect. Mm-hmm. Now, the first option is, like I mentioned, you could stay put at 4. You could potentially see Houston Texans quarterback take a quarterback, and that could be either CJ or Bryce or maybe your preferred player in Will Levis.
Yeah.
And that's A-okay because I think Young and Stroud are the top 2 clear-cut best quarterbacks. I just don't know how I feel about Levis just quite yet, seeing him in, college. I mean, it's just he has to impress me a little bit more.
I feel you. I do think Will's a little bit more
Maybe
of
he has a good pro day.
I think he's just a little bit more of a project, I think. But I feel like, the Colts don't really have – do they have – I don't even really think they have time for a project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think they want to roll the dice a little bit. I think they want to go with more, we know what we're going to get for the most part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go after the best available. We're going to try to make moves to put us in the best position to where we can just get a decent quarterback and just stable, steady, consistent quarterback.
No more,
position.
rent a quarterback. You
No.
don't need Aaron Rodgers. You don't need Derek Carr because apparently the Saints won him. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think I really do like the idea of staying put and just maybe testing the waters out. But if you would like to trade up, which I think is their second option, this is where the Chicago Bears come into play.
Exactly. By all means, explore every option available.
Absolutely.
By all
They
means.
should not be settled right now.
Exactly.
Because you don't know who's, maybe the Bears trade back. I mean, you're not going to trade in your division. Houston's not going to trade number 1. So you're going to have to go for number 2. And are you really willing to risk it to see if either Levis or Stroud? Now, if you want Levis, you do not trade back. Yeah. You don't trade up either. But if you wanting Stroud, I think maybe you should probably consider it because, there's just, some options there where they could, but do you really want to throw in more picks and all? I don't know. I'm no GM, but I really think my best judgment here is just sit at 4, and whoever comes to you, comes to you.
I'm mad at it. I'm not at it at all. I think, Again, it depends. It really does depend because I can 100% see a crazy GM for another team just, making some crazy offer for the 4th or, again, I have no idea. But still, I do think staying at 4 is just such a good spot for the Colts to be in. 4 is such a good spot. There's so much flexibility in 4. And, again, with the Bears getting the first overall pick, this is probably the best case scenario draft-wise for the Colts to be in going into it. So, again, there's a lot of options for this Colts team. I really would prefer – I just really would prefer they just go with their instincts. Do I? But their instincts suck. So, I don't know. I just don't – I really don't know. There's so many – questions, there's so many factors that go into it, but I think there is a very high floor for the rest of this offseason for the Colts, and with whoever they pick and stuff, there's a very high floor. But again, I think going forward, just view all of your options available and list the quarterbacks, rank them in how you think, especially get all from the new coaching staff, get all the preferences, previous history successes, get all that type of recommendations from them.
Oh, absolutely.
They are going to be the ones that's going to be working with. 100% just get as much information from them so there's not any BS going forward.
I do want to go back on what I said. I unfortunately got the mistaken between Texans and Bears. Bears have the number 1, not Texans. Texans have number 2. Now, would you really want to maybe try and jump up to that number 1 spot? I think that's only if they want Young because I think that's the Texans guy and they're A-okay with that. By all means, I think Young's a great guy. I see flashes of a young Russell Wilson. Not this past year's Russell Wilson.
Exactly.
Hopefully not.
Let's ride.
But, Broncos country. Let's ride. But I think, the Colts really should just, stay because the third pick is the Cardinals. And really, if you just keep going down the list, Seattle at 5, which was Denver's original pick. I mean, they're not going to trade up. They have Geno Smith. I think they're okay with that. The Lions could maybe consider a quarterback, but I think Jared Goff deserved another start. I think he deserved another year.
I agree.
Raiders need a quarterback. That's 100%. But rumors have it that Jimmy G's going to go there. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the Raiders don't really want to draft a quarterback. That's my kind of gut feeling. I feel like they want to go with somebody who's a little bit established already. But yeah.
Falcons, they could use a quarterback. Ritter's not really. I mean, we've seen him play a few games. He didn't really shine as much as you hope, but it's the Falcons. Like, they don't have a good team right now.
Exactly.
Anthony Richardson would be probably a good fit for them. Panthers, they need a quarterback. Darnold, don't get me wrong, he played pretty good. Yep, but, I mean, at the same time, you got Frank Reich, former Colts head coach. I mean, he's now going to be there, so he's probably wanted to restart fresh, and no better way to start fresh would probably Will Levis.
Exactly.
Or someone like that. Eagles have the Saints pick, which I don't know what we were thinking, but yeah, they need a quarterback too.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, there's so many teams that have I didn't realize that the Seahawks had the Broncos pick.
Yes, they do,
and I love that for them.
Absolutely.
Because if they just do 60 to 60+% of how well they did this past year's
definitely
draft.
The most shocking team of the season.
Exactly, they could be nasty. They could be nasty next season. Mark my words. But there's so many teams right now that could shoot after. Will Levis is in a great position because there's so many teams. I feel like in other drafts he might we don't know where he's going to land, but in this draft I feel like there's a lot of teams that are going to be sought after him. But again, I think this draft is going to be this is going to be big. There's going to be a lot of I think there's going to be a plethora of trades that are going to happen.
And maybe if the Colts, if they do stay put, maybe they just know something more than I do, more than you do, Joe, because maybe Will Levis is the guy that outshines than the rest. I mean, if they don't want to take younger Stroud, by all means, Levis, I just don't want them to mess up. I mean, I'm not even a Colts fan, but I just want to see, the hometown team, the local market.
Be at least competent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they'll figure it all out. They still have plenty of time to go, and we're going to keep on talking about it because the draft, I believe it's up in May or April. Don't quote me. I don't remember. Good luck to the Indianapolis Colts, and, shout out to Cooter one more time. I mean, it should be pretty fun to see, new offensive scheme just rolling out there. And I think Shane Steichen was already a great offensive guy, so it's going to be kind of fun to see what they roll out with.
For sure. So fun.
Let's talk about it. The last segment of today's Sports Extra with me, Coby Clark, and Joseph the Lawn Moore. It will be the Indiana Pacers. And man, oh man, shout out to our guy, Tyrese Halliburton. Because this man absolutely did a phenomenal job in his first ever, and I believe there's going to be many more, All-Star game appearances. Just obviously he was a reserve player. He had 18 points in his first ever All-Star game, so that's pretty good. And it was very fitting because I saw on Twitter that his ever first statistic, what do you think his first statistic was when he picked up in
Probably
the All-Star
an
game?
assist.
It was assist. Makes sense.
Of course.
Absolutely. And, the three-point contest is another conversation I want to have because how do you – I mean, just shout out because Tyrese is so amazing. I mean, I for some reason I got Jason Tatum in my head, 55 points. Shout out to him as well. That's crazy. But Tyrese Halliburton, 31 points in his first round of the three-point contest, and then he still unfortunately comes out short just like Buddy Hield did. Yeah.
I mean, it's so weird. One, I'm a science nerd. So
or
Salt Lake City is, kind of like Denver because it's at a very high altitude.
Everyone was dogging Utah. Everyone's like, oh, man, there's nothing to do here. I just really – Shaq said he ran up, the hotel bill getting food there and not going out. Like, what?
Okay.
That's crazy.
See, I mean, to be fair – when you're a multi-millionaire and stuff like that, who I'm sure is around all these high-end clubs and LA, New York, and all these other big cities and stuff, Salt Lake City don't have a lot to offer to you. Granted, it is a pretty good city, but still, again, there's not much to offer. But still, I mean, I do think I think the altitude probably has something to do with it.
It could. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I always try to like mention that because it's just funny to me that we always say Denver because it's Mile High City and stuff, but like Utah is pretty much the same way. Nerd stuff aside, you know, I think Tyrese Halliburton had a fantastic, you know, showing for his first of many All-Star appearances. He's one of those guys that is going to, you know, just play really good basketball. He's going to, you know, and I feel like this just, if he's doing this at a young age, has this high of, you know, IQ at the point guard position and just knows how to, you know, win basketball games, he's going to be here for a solid minute. This All-Star game, terrible. All-Star weekend in general, worst that I've seen in a very long time.
This whole weekend was one of the worst?
One of the worst.
What do you mean by that? How do you guys say that?
The actual All-Star game, nobody really wanted to play. It just felt like, you know, one of those, you know, things where they're just like, okay, you want to, you know, one-on-one with him? Here's the ball. Jason Tatum, you want to go on, you know, play against Jaylen Brown for like 2 or 3 possessions? Go ahead. You know what I mean? Damian Lillard. It wasn't really a good, in my view, the All-Star game should be a good like showcase of what like the NBA has to offer. It's literally the best that the NBA has to offer. So,
Joe, I don't know if you know this, but we're kind of in the era of players resting.
Exactly.
So,
and it sucks, and I hate it.
Shout out Anthony
so
Edwards.
Much.
He said the same thing.
Exactly. You know, and that's what I love about Ant because he's always going to just keep it a buck.
Absolutely.
But, you know, for better or for worse. But, I mean, like, he's just, you know, he's not wrong. This is an area where, you know, players don't really want to play that much because they know, like, okay, the games that really matter is just after the All-Star break. But, like, there used to be a certain, like, kind of, like, prestige and, like, you know, kind of energy around the All-Star game.
Yeah.
You know, where it was just like, oh, man, you know, this is what I wanted to be since I was a kid. I wanted to be an NBA All-Star. I wanted to be like Michael Jordan. I wanted to be like,
absolutely,
you know, this player,
man.
that player. And, you know, it just kind of feels like now since, like, players are kind of, like, playing, like, you know, being like all-stars, like consecutive, there's a lot of consecutive all-stars, a lot of people that, you know, are going to be locks. You know, it just kind of like takes away from it each time. You know what I mean? Because like LeBron's like, you know, this is why what was this, like his 20th, you know, not 20th, but probably
Something.
like 16th, 17th, 18th, you know, all-star in a row.
Oh, yeah.
He don't really care. You know what I mean? Like Kawhi. I don't think Kawhi was in there. Who's another player? Kyrie don't really care.
Kyrie get booed.
You know what I mean? Exactly. But again, there's just so many players who've been here before. That's why I wish like there was, I don't know. I think like the NBA needs to totally like reform the entire All-Star.
How would you do it though? I mean, I think they've already done like a lot of good just inclusions with it. I mean, of course, the 3-point contest and, you know, did they even have a skills challenge this year? Am I crazy?
They did. It was like a team skill challenge. It was.
I have no clue.
It was the Antetokounmpo brothers, the Jazz team, and who were I forget who they had left. Okay. But it was just. It was,
regardless of that, I feel like the dunk contest went pretty well. I mean, shout out Mac McClung. I mean, he did a pretty good job. Trey Murphy as well.
It was good. I love, you know, Jericho Sims should have did a much better job because Jericho Sims has one of the craziest verticals in the NBA.
Oh, absolutely. Kenny Martin Jr. showing out with his dad. That's cool.
That was cute, cool and stuff. And I like kind of how they kind of diversified the dunk contest to where it's like, you know, players that aren't really, you know, known or get like many minutes in the rotations and stuff like that, but just are stupid athletes,
right?
Which I love. But like at the same time, I remember Stephen A. Smith said this, that like the dunk contest was ruined by LeBron James because so many people wanted LeBron to do the dunk contest for so many years and stuff that if your best player doesn't want to do the dunk contest, it kind of is like, you know, it just kind of like has like a, you know, a odor.
The only way you could have ever gotten LeBron in there was before he left Cleveland the first time.
Exactly. If he was like young, he was a star, but he was already kind of established.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
he
would
didn't see a point.
Say that again?
He didn't see a point.
He didn't see a point, and like I understand it to a certain degree, but like, come on, Bron. Like, you know, Mike, I'm not trying to be that guy, but Michael did a dunk contest, man. Like, you got to do at least one for us. You know, you have one of the crazy, you know, you used to Miami LeBron. Are you kidding me? You couldn't like jump over a few people and like, you know, dunk. Like, come on, bro. Like, you couldn't give us something.
Who knows?
Like, even if you did bad, just give us something. But like, I feel like ever since the 2017 year, ever since like Zach LaVine stopped doing the dunk contest, ever since like Aaron Gordon started doing the dunk contest, it's just kind of been like, man.
Yeah, I get that,
I don't
man.
really care.
I don't know. The NBA, they'll figure it out eventually.
I hope so.
I think this year was a pretty good weekend, though, all things considered. Shout out, Halliburton. Shout out Buddy Hield. Shout out Benedict Mathurin. I mean, his team won. Team Powell won the
And,
Rising Stars Challenge.
Andrew Nembhard.
Of course, yes.
People
Andrew
were mad about Andrew Nembhard making the Rising Stars Challenge.
Why? Are they hating?
They are hating.
Of course they are.
And I don't know who they wanted to come in instead of him, but I think they wanted some other young star or something like that. And I'm blanking on who it was, but yeah, they were hating on that.
Well, guess what? Too bad.
Exactly. Lol.
And you know who gets the All-Star game weekend next year? Indianapolis.
As we should have. 2020.
Yeah, I know.
I'm still mad about that. I saved up like $2,000. Oh, working my butt off that summer, and then COVID. Obviously.
Hey, you better get ready next year, though.
Yeah, and I want to ask one thing.
Of course.
Because there's like a lot of, the one thing about the NBA that I love more than pretty much any other professional athletic, associations is, how much they change from like pretty much year to year almost,
Yeah.
it feels like. But how do you feel about a mid-season tournament?
It just depends on the way you want to throw it at me.
Because
is it like a season
so
what
what
do you
they're
mean?
saying
Explain
is,
it a little bit more.
What they're saying is they want to have like a mini like in-season tournament, and that's going to happen like I think around like January or something like that, and it's going to affect seeding. It's going to affect the playoff outcomes. It's also going to have a a money incentive in everybody's contracts to where like if they win or get like some other thing, and they're also thinking about having like one or two like outside basketball leagues like Euroball or like the European League comes over and then they participate in it.
That'd be so cool.
That would be personally, I love it.
Got to evolve, man.
Exactly.
Because I feel like now when you look at it, because the players want to sit out, this is a way. This is a way to get them to play.
It's at least a chance.
And a way to punish them, just because if they don't play, it will affect them long term.
Exactly. And I think
playoffs.
Exactly. I think that's fantastic. I think that would be a really, really dope way for, players, because it feels like games like from the start of the season, or I should say like after the first couple of weeks, because everybody's like, oh, new teams and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But like between like the start of the season to like All-Star, like nope, it just doesn't matter. It feels like nothing it really matters in terms of seeding and stuff. But like, I think that would be a fantastic way to be like different, because what is better than win or go home basketball?
Absolutely.
Like
it's must see TV.
Nothing.
That is why March Madness is still thriving.
Birth of my first child, single game elimination basketball. I don't know yet. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Oh man,
I'm just saying. Listen. I think it's going to be a fantastic time if they try to do that. But yeah, I think there needs to be some change to the All-Star.
Yeah.
But shout out Andrew Nembhard, Benedict Mathurin, Buddy Hield, and
absolutely
Tyrese Halliburton. I can't wait to see what they do in the future.
Cannot wait. Maybe they get a play-in. Maybe we get a guy named Victor. I don't know what we're doing. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Bring him home.
Keep on going, Pacers. We got your back all the way through. Joseph Moore, this has done it for Sports Extra today. How'd you feel, man? Good conversations all around.
Feels good. I'm ready to go get some food and go and hop on the game.
I wish I could do the same. Your boy has to do a little bit more work, and then I got to wake up 6 a.m. gym sessions with my gym bros.
What we working on?
Tomorrow is a core day.
Core day? Okay.
Today I had shoulders and biceps. Really, you could say arms, but
yeah, just arms. Okay. Yeah,
So.
get that work in, man. Get that core fusion in, man.
Absolutely.
Get them planks in. Get them with that one machine where you just like
the crunch bar.
Like
Or,
crunch,
I don't know,
the
it's something
crunch thing. Yeah. You
something
we
like
get
that, man.
Rise and grind, man.
Any more last words, Joe, before we get on out of here? I mean, we had a good conversation about the Pacers. I mean, the good conversation about the Colts, see what they're doing with Cooter and the fourth overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
Men's team still shining. Unfortunately, women's team got to clean up.
Go ISU.
Go ISU. Go Pacers.
Go Pacers. I'm glad you said it, because I was just going to get spotlight to ISU because they've been hooping.
Go Pacers. I don't know. I was hoping you said Colts.
No.
And then I was going to throw back Go Saints.
No, see, like, listen, the Colts have to earn it. The Pacers earned it in my heart. Okay,
ISU's
earned
like
it in my heart.
10 wins on the season at this point.
So don't get jumped in the station. But
What?
Okay, but still,
Well, I promise you, if you join WZIS-U and I get jumped by Joseph Moore.
it depends. It depends what you're taking.
Maybe verbally on the Pacers. I don't know.
Exactly.
We'll see. Of course, same time next week, ladies and gentlemen, Sports Extra with me, Kobe Clark, Joseph Moore from 6 to 7 p.m. Follow all of our social medias at WZIS-FM. Make sure you follow on the Twitter for everything sports. Make sure you follow up on our Spotify. When I put this audio out, you can re-listen or listen to the first time. If you're not listening right now, what are you doing? You should be available every Monday, 6 to 7 like me and Joe are. Come on now. And Sports Extra Uncut tomorrow over on our Twitch from 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. What a day to be a Sycamore. What a day to be alive. For Joseph the Lawnmower, I've been the Kobe Clark. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.
Peace.